Hello everybody, Flik here and welcome to Let's Chat, my weekly vlog series posted every Monday at lunchtime if you're in the UK. And I've got something I want to talk about before we get started into the questions asked in the comment section of last week. I am in the process of planning out a new channel trailer. The one I have right now is just over a year old and I don't think it accurately reflects, well, for one, the audio quality I have now, but also what I actually do with my channel. I focus more on indie games now than I did back then. I focus less on anime games than I did back then, and I think it somewhat misrepresents my channel in possibly a negative way if someone who isn't familiar with me watches the trailer and thinks all they mostly do is anime games and I don't care about anime. So that's my thinking. So I'm planning out a new one. The script for it will probably be largely the same, and yes, channel trailers are one of the rare occurrences where I actually write a script for what I'm going to say. The only other example is, well, it's not really a script, but for the end of year best and worst games played videos that I don't do a script per se, but I do bullet points, positives and negatives so that I remember to cover everything. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a new channel trailer and I'm kind of earmarking suitable footage from games I've played that they show off a technical level of skill, ideally. Possibly that are funny, but they can't have sound because there'll be music and me talking over in narration form. So if you have any ideas for moments from playthroughs that were funny or skillful or anything like that, please let me know. You don't need to put it in the comment section if you don't want to. You can tell me on Twitter or whatever. I've already got a bit of a list going thanks to some input on Twitter. Like, for example, Matsumuni was talking to me on Twitter about some Dark Souls 2 bits. For example, the time where he had just joined our game and was looking at Rory and CR, I snuck up on him and backstabbed him. And that also got me thinking, as far as Dark Souls 2, the time that CR, Rory and I triple backstabbed at the same time, that's probably going to be in there. And then some kind of epic fight. I thought maybe my fight with Alone, although I'd prefer if it was a one-on-one kind of deal. I'm not sure about that. So people who watch the Dark Souls 2, any of the Dark Souls 2 playthroughs, the DLC or the PC or the console version, can you think of anything particularly badass that would look good to include? Because I think the funny stuff would be covered by backstabbing Matsumuni or when CR and Rory were running around me as barrels. I can't remember which part that was in, so it means I'm going to have to go looking. And that's another thing, if you can be incredibly specific, that would be fantastic. Like, don't just say, oh, what about that bit of the playthrough? If you could say, in part, so and so, you did this, that would save me a lot of time. And that's why I'm kind of planning ahead, because I know for the most part I'm going to have to go looking for footage, which means I'm going to have to rewatch a lot of old videos and then re-download them from myself, because I can't hold on to them because I upload too many or make too many. Excuse me. So along with that, I'm going to definitely wait until Binding of Isaac Rebirth is out, because I think that's going to be a mainstay of the channel for a while, so I want to have footage of that in my trailer. And also any other outstanding indie games, I would say, that you can think of. What do you think represents someone who is willing to cover indie games? What are good examples of that? If you have any input or opinion, I was trying to merge two words again there, on that kind of thing as well. I want that to be better reflected, because I think in my original channel trailer I kind of just brushed over, oh, I cover indie games, and it was in a blurb about Kickstarter games and whatnot as well. It's more accurate to say these days that I just cover indie games. I don't specifically focus on games with Kickstarters attached to them, because quite frankly that's not always a good idea, because they're often so early in development and whatnot. Plus I'm getting approached by more indie devs who are not going the Kickstarter route. So that's another reason. I'm also looking at XCOM footage maybe, or Dead Rising 3 I suppose, Borderlands maybe, the new one that we're about to cover. You might already see the first part by the time you hear this, I'm not sure. And Monster Hunter 3, I've had some suggestions for footage as well, and I am looking for more input on Monster Hunter footage I could use to, or just anything in general that I can put into a new channel trailer. So that's what I wanted to cover before we got started. That's what's on my mind. I hope to get it done sometime in November, as I say, and then that leaves me December to work on the end of year best and worst video, which they always take a while, not just to collect your notes, but then you go looking for footage and record footage, then you have to edit it together, and that's one of the few occasions where the editing process is really, really long. But anyway, enough whinging about that. So yes, summary of thoughts. I'm making a new channel trailer. I would like input on what footage of what games to use in it that best represents my channel without the need of actually hearing what's going on in the clip. Any input is greatly appreciated, thank you. And with that, let's go to the comments on Let's Chat number 45. Didn't get that many, so let's see how long it takes me to get through it. Drakonakis says he would accept the Wasabi Challenge. My answer to that is to record it and put it on the internet. Let's see. Kuner K. Thank you for answering my questions, and no, I didn't change my icon. It's always been Arsenal. Yeah, I recognise the avatar. It's just for some reason your name blanked on me, like, have you changed your name? But I think I was sleep deprived because I was in the middle of the cold. I'm on the tail end of it now, last week. Maybe you have a friend who is a Arsenal FC supporter. No, it was just your name. I knew you had the Arsenal logo as your avatar. This week's question is, what is your first game on PS1 and Xbox? I remember mine were Road Rash and Crash Bandicoot. Bought them with the console. And with PS1, and buy the PS1's controller and the rumble effect. Okay. First game on PS1 and Xbox. I'm pretty sure the first ever game I played on the original Xbox was Splinter Cell, and then closely after that Halo. Or maybe the other way around. I definitely remember, for some reason this sticks out in my mind, I remember struggling to get used to the original Xbox controller, which admittedly was a very bizarre shape, and getting through the tutorial section of the first Splinter Cell. For some reason that sticks in my head, and I'm not sure why. And the only other memory I have of Halo is the evening where I first finished it. So I think Splinter Cell was first on the Xbox. As for PS1, that was so long ago that it's going to be really tricky to say. I want to say the first Legacy of Kain may have been Suikoden, or Suikoden, whatever, or the first Resident Evil. I wasn't an early adopter to the PS1, in fact my friend got one before I did, so I played stuff on his. But yeah, from memory I think that's right. And then you say, another awesome week, keep it up. I will, or I will certainly attempt to, thank you. And this time I will try and remember that your name hasn't randomly changed. Cold medicine does weird things to you. That's all I'm going to say on that. Graveskeeper Duelist. I would do the Wasabi Challenge. Well, like I just said to Dragonakis, film it, put it on the internet, you'll be famous. I'm not sure he means mixed with milk, I just think he means milk on the side to cool your mouth. Yeah, I suppose so. I actually need that. I burnt the top of my mouth eating dinner last night. It's rather embarrassing for a grown man to do that, but I lost the skin in the top right of my mouth as a result. It's all a weird feeling. I don't need to bore you with details like that though. Sorry to anyone eating their lunch right now. Also, the gift I was talking about were a few volumes I have of the Death Note manga. I was gifted the black edition of the whole series one year from my girlfriend, so the few I collected of the regular ones I don't use. Oh, was this in relation to setting up a P.O. box? Also, Doctor Who made me not like the name Rory because I didn't really care for the character Rory at the time. I'm pressing the more info button if you heard me click there. I'm actually starting to like him though, as I recently started watching it again. The comment about not liking the name was a joke though. Yeah, I don't think Rory took any offence. He may not have even heard it, I don't know. Anyway, on to the question. Where would you live stream at? I'm assuming Twitch, you are correct, yes. But there are many other sites out there. I can only think of Hitbox off the top of my head, as far as ones that have got a little bit of traction. I think my comments are long, but you see them as short because you flow through them very well. This week is maybe not an example of that. Lightly commenting on unimportant parts and answering the important parts with clarity. Either way, I appreciate the time this takes, and that is why I apologised. My comments are kind of ramblish, so are my answers. Hope you feel better soon. I am almost there. My nose is still a little bit stuffed, but my throat is hopefully going to be good enough that I can handle a solid 4-day weekend of recording a lot of stuff. I don't know how much will change between then and when you're hearing this, but I've got to do a few Isaac runs today, and later in the afternoon we're starting the Borderlands pre-sequel playthrough, and then on Saturday I'm hosting a Monster Hunter night, and it's going to be the 100th episode, so I want it to be big and, you know, not me sounding like I can barely talk. So I'm hoping my voice lasts. I guess you already know, potentially. Well, the Monster Hunter videos won't be out that soon, but if you were there you will know. So did I answer all your questions? Well, in relation to the Death Note, I read the manga online, but I have the DVD box set. But I wouldn't mind going back to read it sometime. I don't actually know what the black edition is. Is that just like a special fancy-ass manga release? I assume that's what it is. On that subject, I can't remember if I covered this last week, but after 15 years, or almost 16 years, Naruto is finally ending. It's going to end on issue 699, which is bloody annoying. He couldn't have made it around 700, could he? No, he had to be 699. But I'm glad it's over. It should have actually ended about 15 issues ago. There's one needlessly pointless last thing to do, I think it's more fan service than anything else, although because it's got the DBZ syndrome where once characters get so powerful, fights become incredibly dull. And unfortunately it's way into that. So I'm glad that it's ending, however I am still a fan of it, and it's nice to be able to say, you know, if you want to read all of Naruto now, you can do it. I was worried for a little while there it might not end in my lifetime, like say One Piece. But it's ending, and that means I can also free up what little time I give to animes and mangas to read something else. I'm also getting a little bit bored of Attack on Titan. I liked it better when it had Titans in it, not when it was just like interhuman politics. That bored the hell out of me. I think it's trying to go like a Walking Dead route, but failing really badly at it. And also the art, as I've gone over in Attack on Titan, is really bad. But, you know, that's just my opinion. Anyway, moving on. 1979 Devil's Advocate. I have a question. This is not at all related to gaming. Today is Canadian Thanksgiving. Well, this was 3 days ago from when I recorded this, or, you know, 5 or 6 days when you're hearing this. Is there a Scottish equivalent? If there is, do you celebrate in any particular way, with a family or big meal, particular movie, etc.? Nope, we don't have any kind of thing that's relevant to what Americans or Canadians have for their various versions of Thanksgiving. The Canadian Thanksgiving is in relation to settlers being thankful for finding the land, and I believe the American Thanksgiving is to do with the Native American pagan stuff, I think. I'm showing my ignorance for history here, even though I studied history for 4 years, so excuse me. In Scotland, no, we don't have that. We have Burns Night, which is a celebration of Robbie Burns, or Robert Burns, the Scottish poet. That's about it as far as special ones. We have Cayleys. They're not a particular day though, they're just a celebration, a name for a particular type of Scottish celebration. I used to go to Cayleys quite a lot with my family when I was younger. They're just an excuse to go out, you know, the kids play and there's bagpipe music and dancing and the adults get drunk and everybody eats Scottish food. Or Burns Night in particular, you're supposed to always eat haggis and that kind of stuff, because we might as well give in to our stereotypes sometimes, I suppose. Other than that, any particular Scottish holidays? Not really, none that I can think of anyway. We don't have any kind of Thanksgiving. Nothing that I would say compares to that anyway. We obviously have, you know, the mainstream secular holidays, etc. Craig O'Malley. Oh, you've got to read more button. I'll press this in advance. Okay, here we go. Long question, maybe. I see a few question marks. Let's get ready. Hey Flik, I've noticed that on a lot of your videos, the same people tend to chime in and get involved in the discussion. I think it's great that you have a following that watches a lot of your videos and they always have something interesting to say with little to no vitriol. This is very true. So first I wanted to thank you and your subscriber base for giving us a safe place to comment and share opinions. Well, I'll say thank you on their behalf as well. I do make use of YouTube's filter system, so if anyone says anything exceptionally racist or homophobic, etc., that comment never sees the light of day. I won't go near any other YouTubers' comments because I have no interest in dealing with the kind of people that comment there. Obviously there are good people, but most of it is astoundingly offensive. Yeah, YouTube comment sections on gaming channels is very much like Twitch chat on Twitch. It's for backseat gaming. Yeah, well, it's not necessarily for that, but that's what it's used for. My question this time is this. What can we, your fans, do to help you? You're making this sound like I paid you to do this question at this point. Which actually, that gives me something else to talk about. We'll get onto that in a second. My question this time is, what can we, your fans, do to help you grow your channel and make sure you're able to continue producing the awesome content? I know about Patreon and I like every video I watch of yours, but is there anything else? Maybe for those of us that don't have the means to donate, a way to get the word out. So, ways you can support me without having to pay money or give money because you can't. I get it. Well, liking a video helps, commenting on a video helps. What else? A big one is the length of time you watch the video. So if you watch all of a video from start to finish in one sitting without closing it and reopening it later, or getting bored and closing it halfway, that helps because audience retention matters more now than it used to as a result of what I've spoke about before called the reply girl phase of YouTube. Other than that, well, I have to be very careful how I word this because you can't solicit people to help you in certain ways because it would be unethical. I would say please let ads play. I think it's safe to say that. If you let ads play, don't use ad block. You let me earn money. If you use ad block, you are making sure I don't earn money. Outside of that, sharing my videos via social media would help. And also, if you are on my friends list on Steam, you should see that when I post a video onto Steam, it appears in the activity log. If you thumb that up, it gets put higher in the Steam group for that game's daily video list, and that sometimes helps. I notice it helps a lot with indie games, not so much with mainstream games because everybody does it. Other than that though, no, that's about it. I wouldn't want to ask any more of anyone than the basics of please like and comment, you know, the stuff everyone else says. And the reason you say it is not because you want to drill it into their heads, it's just that people need a reason to help you. And I know that's contradictory if you believe Zidane in Final Fantasy IX, but YouTube's right when it tells you to do, you know, drive people watching to do stuff. Because, without meaning this offensively, because it applies to me as well, the viewer is passive and lazy. And they're allowed to be because they're the viewer. You're the person who's supposed to be doing the work here. That's why I always say the viewer is allowed to be lazy, but the content producer isn't. So don't hate people for saying at the end of videos, please like the video, please comment, please subscribe, please share the video. They're doing it because they have to. Not literally, they don't have a gun to their head, but they have to from the sense that if they don't, people won't bother because they don't think it matters. And it does matter, and it makes a massive difference. People aren't exaggerating when they say it makes a massive difference. Every little interaction helps in SEO, which is search engine optimization if you don't know. It's a very boring subject, but YouTube has a whole document on SEO, and you can find out more information with Google as well. If I think of anything else, I will try and mention it. However, as I say, I think that those are the most basic of things. It literally takes a second out of your day to just, you know, click the thumbs up button on a video. Granted, it takes like 20 or 30 seconds to leave a comment, so I am asking that you spend a little bit of time. But even if, say, an advert played that you didn't like at the start, end, or middle of a video, use it as a pee break. That's what I do on Twitch. On Twitch, if someone I'm watching who's a Twitch partner runs ads and I want to support that person, I'll use the ad break for the same thing they do, and the same thing you do in real life when you watch TV. Go have a pee, go get something to eat, go get something to drink, and you still help the person while you're doing something else with your time. That's the way I look at it anyway. Moving on, we have a few more questions here. Daniel Na, your house gets invaded by a group of zombie flying bunny rabbits. What do you do in capital letters? Die? Probably. Flying bunny rabbits that are also zombies. Well, that actually, do they crave human flesh? Even though they're bunnies, wouldn't they like crave fellow bunnies' flesh? I don't have any pet rabbits, so I think I'd be safe in that regard. What would I do? Well, let's see, I'll pretend to be badass. I have a pretend katana mounted on my wall that you may have seen when I did my webcam video. It's not sharp, but it is made of metal, so I think I could swat a few zombie bunnies out of the sky if I really had to before it fell apart in my hands. So I would defend myself with that. That's about all I can do, because we're not in America, so we don't just have guns for no reason. Guildforce Gaming, if I was getting the PC version of Borderlands pre-sequel, I would have loved to join in the series, and it would have been my first time co-oping a Borderlands game. I'm surprised you enjoy the Borderlands games if you've never played them co-op, because as much as I like them, and like aspects of them, not playing them co-op makes them very boring, even if the writing of the second one kind of carried it in my opinion. Alex Rowley pointed out he does have the PC version, but he's a filthy casual when it comes to these games. I think Gail also made a post on my Steam group looking for people to play the console version of this pre-sequel cooperatively with him. I don't know if it's for a series or just for fun, but if you also have the console version and are interested, go check that out at the Flik Gaming Stuff Steam group. I will be playing it on PC. I already have people I'm playing it with, and as I said earlier, we're going to start in a few hours from now. So this next comment is fun. It's from Kwiku Ido, and I can't remember if that's how you pronounce your surname, I apologise, but this is a guy who used to always email in when I did a gaming podcast. Him and Good Rory were always amongst the regulars who emailed in with questions, and as far as I remember, he went away to be a Buddhist monk or something like that. He went off to learn Kung Fu in some faraway country, so he couldn't email in anymore because he didn't have any internet access, but now he's back. And I seem to remember him losing an eye or something like that. Is that true? Maybe that was an exaggeration, I can't remember. But either way, he finally came back. So this is his comment on this video. Hello Flik, it's me, it's Kwiku, long time no see. I'm finally back from my trip and I haven't died, so that's good. But I don't really know what to ask, so I'm just going to say hi. Although he did actually come back and say what happened to Brain Go Hurry, which was the gaming podcast I did. We ran out of time and the effort we put into producing like a 1 to 2 hour podcast that was edited down weekly or bi-weekly. It didn't meet the kind of viewership or listenership, whatever you want to call it, was getting, so we do our separate things now, and I do this as an alternative to a podcast. Sometimes I might have people on. I haven't really, because I record these at weird times, it's not really suitable, but in the future that might happen. I don't want to start doing 2-hour long vlogs, but in the new year I might start recording them with my webcam, as I've talked about before, just to, you know, try and liven them up a bit, because otherwise you've just got the still image of what I'm going to talk about and the music in the background. So CR commented that the name I was looking for last time about the guy who did the Binding of Isaac, the original soundtrack, was Danny Baranowski, and that is indeed the case. He also did the Crypt of the Necrodancer soundtrack, which I have heard even though I haven't played it yet, and yes, I agree with what CR says here, that I should definitely check out the Crypt of the Necrodancer OST. I agree, so should all of you, especially the death metal track. It's very, very good. Although CR thought he was working on the Rebirth soundtrack, he is not. I looked it up just to make sure. It's done by Ridiculin, which is Matthias Bossi and John Evans. And they're also doing the next Meat Boy game as well. I don't know if Edmund McMillan fell out with Danny B at some point, but for some reason they don't collude together anymore. And with that, that is all the questions. Yep, that's all of them. So to go back to something that I was reminded about earlier, I'd just like to say right now that if you are a frequenter of so-called gaming journalist websites such as Polygon, Kotaku, Eurogamer, etc., you'll no doubt be seeing lots of coverage once again regarding the fact that some YouTubers were paid to do entirely positive coverage of Shadows of Mordor, and they probably won't let it rest and will cover it numerous times. It's obviously shameful that people are willing to accept contracts where they are forced to not give an opinion and be 100% positive, even with a game that, you know, it seems like it is a good game, but it is buggy. It has bugs, it will have issues, it is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and it is ludicrous to sign a contract that forces you to lie to your audience. However, the reason I'm bringing it up is that gaming journalists / bloggers / enthusiasts will not let this subject die, and they won't because it makes them look better. And why are they interested in that? Because they are scared of YouTubers, that is why. YouTubers and Twitchers, whatever you call them, are replacing the online gaming media, just in the same way really as online gaming media replaced magazine gaming media. We are the new trend for people to go to get information on games, which is why it's bad that some of us are willing to sell out our audiences to make a quick buck and lie about games they're covering. I will never do that, as I hope you're aware. Some people are, but the reason that the gaming journalists won't let it rest is because it makes them look better. To repeat what I just said, they want to discredit YouTubers every chance they can get because it keeps them relevant in a arena where they are steadily becoming more and more irrelevant, especially when it appears that they're all entirely corrupt, drunk on power, and often collude together, where nepotism is exceptionally ripe, and they try and shun everybody who points this out by calling them misogynists without even really understanding the meaning of that word. I think they actually mean they're trying to claim that gamers are sexist. Misogynist means you literally hate women, which is ludicrous. And that's all I'm going to say on that subject. That's going to conclude this week's Let's Chat. Thank you very much for listening. Stay tuned for more gaming stuff later tonight. And I shall see you next Monday again, hopefully to ramble about more incoherent stuff. My name has been Flik, and I'll see you then maybe. Ta-ta for now.